Hello, everybody. What is real personal authority? And how do we stop giving it away? How do we take it back if we have given it away? Well, I welcome all of you beautiful souls out there to the Soul View. I'm Cindy Kabika, and with me, of course, is Lorelei Robbins and Shenanigan. Shenanigan.
Yeah, forget about that.
My tongue isn't working today. Well, what brings up this topic today, because what we do is we look at what's in the news and we look at it from a soul's perspective. So what's in the news today? Well, in the U.S., we have the U.S. Supreme Court nomination that's going on right now. And also Saturn, the planet of authority, moves forward on Thursday. Yay! It's been in retrograde for about 5 months, and Lorelei is going to talk about that in just a moment. But what I really want to just say to everyone, when we talk about personal authority, we're not talking about institutional. That would be the U.S. Court Justice. That is institutional, that's positional. But what is personal authority? That's what we'll be talking about today. Now, if you like what we are doing here, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you are on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Also hit the like button. Leave your comments below because it really helps us know if we're going in the right direction for you. So please leave your comments and questions below, and also on Facebook and on the side if you're joining us here on Zoom. So Lorelei, why don't you go ahead and tell us what's going on in the cosmic weather?
Okay, so so the big news is that, as Cindy was saying, the planet Saturn, and again, we are the planets. So this is not about some outside something is happening to us. We are all Saturn to some degree. And Saturn represents the planet of what forms us, structure, what defines us, authority figures. It's the planet that's associated with the sign of Capricorn. So it's about organization and planning. Well, Saturn has been appearing to go backwards, retrograded since April 17th. And so that means that in Capricorn, in its own very comfortable energy, so that sort of increases the energy up a few notches around that. If you look over the last 5 months of your life, look at where you might have given authority to someone or something, or where one doesn't feel one has control over one's life. Here's a great analogy. Think of a playpen for a small child. That creates limits and boundaries to keep the child safe. So Saturn can keep us safe. I know what I can expect. I know how I'm defined. And so when Saturn is in retrograde, we again get to look more inside for where are we with personal internal authority. So anything that would have come up for anyone over the last 5 months around any of that, like, oh my God, I'm still giving, authority, or I'm still wanting permission from a parent that died 50 years ago. I mean, I'm kidding, but I'm serious. It could be somebody or something here. It might be some old, contract somewhere. And so there can be this reclamation now of, okay, now I feel like my own authority. Now it's time for me to do Saturn in Capricorn. Let's take the next couple of steps up the mountain, right, Shivani?
Yes, I can't wait.
You mountain goat, you.
I love it. I love it. Well, before we get into this conversation, I want to just ask very quickly, Shivani, do we have any questions, comments from last week?
Okay, let me have a look. I can't, hang on, here we go. Did you send this to me, Cindy?
I think that Ferris may have.
Oh, Ferris, okay. I don't think so. The last thing I had from Ferris was on the 26th of July.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
I didn't remember if he put it in there or not. So let's go ahead and launch into this conversation. And again, I want to invite your comments as well. And one of the things that we're going to try and do today that we would like your help on is we want to put this in a 1, 2, 3 and ABC. So what we're going to do, we're going to call this our soul alignment steps. And once we are done here, we're going to look at what those things are. If you have an idea, please go ahead and put that in the comment box there, and we will read them and we'll come up with what we feel are the best steps. So let's go ahead and just talk about, first of all, let's start with that first question, which is, what is personal authority anyway?
Good question.
Yeah. So who would like to answer that?
Oh God. Okay. So I know. I mean, there are different levels, I think, although ultimately they all work in with each other. I think the first level is that I know without doubt that I'm the creator of my own reality. And so I'm the authority, and I would go as far as I am God, which might ruffle some feathers. But yeah, the authority is my word is done, or, you know, it's like whatever I decide is done, and then the universe comes to aid us. On the example that you had, Cindy, with the US politics, for me, personal authority would be to actually not just take anything that's, especially online, on Facebook, at face value, but make it my business to inform myself.
You know, I'm so glad that you brought that up, because for me, I see people giving away their personal authority by just following something. They hear something and right away they're commenting. And I was talking, earlier about something that I saw online that really got people emotional, and they were having people sign up for this online thing, and it ended up being a complete scam so that they could get your email address. And this happens all the time. They get people riled up. So we've got to stop and do our research, and not give our authority away so quickly. Now, of course, we have, institutional authority, positional authority, and we have to follow the rules.
Not sure if it's me or you, but I'm frozen. Everything is frozen.
Are we frozen?
No, we're not, but Shivani is.
Oh, okay. All right. Are you still frozen, Shivani?
Yeah, that's a very interesting pose, Shivani.
Yeah. So she might have to drop out and come back on.
In.
And while she's doing that, Lorelei, I would love to just get your
this has been, for me personally, the whole idea of personal authority has been such a courageous, blessed, and challenging journey, because, and again, some of this is the way I'm wired as a Libra, having a lot of Libra energy, which is wanting to give pleasure, wanting people to experience pleasure. And so there is a certain people-pleasing and approval seeking qualities about Libra, which any of you that have Libra characters, this. So it's been easy for me to give away personal authority, in other words, and then believe anything that was out there, or anything that, okay, this will have authority over me. But what I've learned over the last few years, and which is so exciting, is that all the crap, all the shit can be going on out there. There can be all kinds of things that are happening, but yet my own personal dominion, my sovereignty over myself, if you will, does not need to be touched by that on some level. It doesn't mean we might not consciously choose to obey this rule that this authority is giving us. Like, it's a good idea to stop at a stop sign, right? It's a good idea to stop at a red light. Those are all Saturn constructs, they define us. But so the whole personal authority piece, and as I said, we can all really feel that. Well, we have the opportunity to feel that even more with Saturn going direct tomorrow, where somebody could be saying, wow, I feel more like I'm in charge of myself in this area. Call it empowerment, but we use that word a lot, but like I'm really in charge of myself. I'm expanding my own playpen as opposed to standing in a playpen and going, oh my God, all I have to do is step over these slats in this playpen because I'm the one that is keeping myself small, or I'm restricting or constricting myself. So, I love the whole conversation about personal authority because I think it waxes and it wanes.
And, that's so true. And for me, giving up your personal authority is letting other people affect your peace. That's the way that I look at it. Some people rob your peace. Can you still be active? Can you still speak out? Can you still get involved in things? Absolutely. I'm an activist and I'm at peace with my life because I am the authority over me. We've said this many times. When there's disorder on earth, there is order in heaven. There's order to everything. And to keep my peace, every time something happens, I remember that. And I say, okay, what is the divine view of this? What is the soul view of what is going on that I am to walk away with this, that will help me with my own personal growth? And if I stay focused on that, then I don't find myself up in arms and raging out there and letting others take my authority from me. Because, again, I see it all the time.
Well, and if we keep giving others responsibility for our well-being, then we're giving it away. We're basically totally disempowering ourselves out of some conscious or unconscious desire to not be responsible. Because if I'm blaming that one, or if I'm giving my authority over there and they have authority over me, I really don't have to take responsibility for my life.
And there's another part to that. Some people, and there's one particular person, well, there's several people, but one particular person's coming to mind right now because when I see her posts, it's always a pity party. And so she's giving away her authority, but it's a passive aggressive thing because she's getting in return attention from people trying to make her life right for her. And that is how she's controlling other people.
Totally. Yeah.
So people are giving up their authority to do something that they have to do daily with this individual, is try to make her life right. Oh, it's not that bad. Everything's going to get better, and it's not like it's big things. Everybody has big things in their life, but this day-to-day thing, everything is a woe is me. And for her, that's what gives her party. Her power.
Her because she would take energy, right? That's how she receives energy.
That's it. That is it. So how do we, if this is somebody that is listening and they're saying, okay, I find myself doing that where I'm giving my power to someone else. I find myself complaining, bitching, moaning, all of that. And that's giving away that personal authority or personal power. Then what do they do?
I think the first one is being aware. Yeah. Unless we notice what we're doing, we can't actually change it.
So awareness or consciousness. Being conscious. So that's, to me, that is step one, is to become conscious of what you're doing. Wow, you know what? I find myself complaining all the time or blaming someone else for what's going on in my life. What do I get from that? I think as a second step is to ask yourself the question, what are you getting from it?
Yeah, what's the payoff?
Yeah. What's the payoff? So
because it could be like that person on Facebook, it could be the attention. Yeah. Getting a lot of attention. And so then to all of a sudden, let's just play with this for a minute, be aware of that person to be aware and go, oh my gosh, look at how I'm drawing attention to myself by having other people feel sorry for me or take pity on me or feel they have to rescue me or, whatever. What a huge insight. Now, and then of course, then it's what that person decides to do with that insight.
And that would be the next thing is take action to change that because only you can do that. Yeah. Only you can take action.
I would also say, so if you're blaming, so that's the negative. You can actually look at, okay, so what do I want instead? What's the positive? Yeah, what's the exact opposite? And then see where's that lacking in your life and how can I create this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, if it's where you're finding yourself blaming other people, and hey, been there, done that. By the way, for anybody out there, I'm not pointing any fingers, because when you're pointing at someone, you get 3 pointing back at you.
Right.
And we have all done that. Am I right, ladies?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
We've all done that, and we've worked through it and said, you know what? I don't want that to be where I get, approval from other people, or that they're constantly trying to make it right for me. That's not personal authority for me.
Right. No.
I want my personal authority to come from something else. What is that? And then make that choice. It's amazing how when you close that door, another one will open, and all kinds of new cool things can happen. Am I right?
Mm. But have you heard am I blocked again? Oh, have you heard the other part of that? When one door opens, when one door closes, another opens, right?
Yeah.
But hanging out in the hallway is a bitch. Or what would be between trapezes, which is where a lot of us are now. It's like letting go. This would be a good Saturn image. Letting go of the old trapeze, and the new one may not be quite in sight. It may be there. It may just be beyond your reach, but it's that place of trusting the universe to unfold. And again, with this opportunity to reclaim personal authority, just to intend that, even if people don't care about Saturn or any, just to say, wow, that sounds cool. I think I'm going to make a commitment, which is very Saturn, to claiming my personal authority and not blaming anyone else. I mean, just to live that way, we could write a whole new book about agreements, couldn't we?
Yeah, we certainly could.
It's funny, since we did our shows on the 4 agreements, I have, in the last 2 days, of course, since the moon's been in Cancer, which is about taking things personally, I have found myself saying, I'm really focusing on, it's okay what you decide, so-and-so, about this, because I'm really much better at not taking things personally ever since we did our show and focused on that, really.
And it's funny, when you do that work, and we will probably in the future go through them again, because we have to be reminded of these things. One of the things that I hope that we will do soon that helps people with their personal authority is really understand the universal principles, learn universal laws. And I would love for us to just look at the universal laws and go through them each week, so that people can gain personal authority if they don't have it already, if they're going, wow, I don't even really understand what that is.
It's so interesting that you're using the word law in any capacity. I mean, universal laws, because law is also a Saturn. It's Jupiter too, but it's a Saturn construct, the laws of the universe, the laws of the way things work, the law of attraction. So this is a very Saturn conversation, which is really cool, with the planet sort of palpating, whatever you want to call it, like vibrating in its getting ready to change direction. So that's really the laws. Yeah, to study the laws of the universe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So are you ladies up for it? And
I love that idea.
Else? Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and if you are all up for that, in the next few weeks, that's what we'll do. We'll take each one of the laws, starting with the law of attraction, and we will just go through all of the different universal laws, and
we can apply them to what's going on in the world. That's
Absolutely.
real. That'll be really fun,
right? That's where this personal authority can go. So that's what our plan will be. If you have another way of thinking about this, please let us know in the comments. And another thing that I just want to reiterate that you said earlier, Shivani, and this is so important. If you find yourself involved in a fight online, first of all, that's not the place to do it. If you're willing to have the fight online, then stop there and get out and go have it in person. where you can actually see somebody, feel their energy, and empower each other in a conversation. I just want to, I can't even recommend this enough, because people, they can't see each other, which makes it much easier to give away your authority.
Mm-hmm.
So go out and, there are meetup groups all over the place. Go find a meetup group. Go meet people in person. Listen to what they have to say. And be willing to listen and keep your mind open, and then allow them to hear what you have to say as well. And you might end up with a new understanding.
And I have a sort of a heavenly step or a soul step around that, in that if you're feeling compelled or triggered to want to fight online or argue, it's calling something out in you. It's really not even about the specific details of the situation. I'm not minimizing what the circumstances are, but what's really happening is you're in that fighting, wanting to fight, you're having an opportunity to wake up to a part of yourself. So it is actually serving to ignite your passion, in a sense, and can catalyze you to what makes you come alive. So again, I think what you say is great in terms of go out. That certainly would be on the mundane physical level for sure. But just know, if you're feeling, because it's a great place to hide on Facebook too, and yet it's also a great place to express. I mean, to me, if I take Facebook, it definitely, the pluses outweigh the minuses to me all over the place in terms of what it affords. But just know that whatever you're responding to that's getting you is really waking you up to something that you've been asleep to. So I just want, because as you were talking, that's what came up for me.
And I want to go back to putting your passion in action, because if you are really passionate about something, take action in some way, but do it from a heart space so that you're not giving away your personal authority. I've showed you this, ladies, earlier. I've got my Superwoman shirt.
I love it.
Yes, I want to remind myself not to give away my own personal authority, that I am my own superhero. If I say yes, if I'm going to have this argument with somebody online, then I need to go and have it in person. And again, I'm with you, Lorelei, where I love the online community, but it's just become too easy for people to just put stuff out there
absolutely, without any responsibility.
Right.
Yeah,
that's it. And so we use it responsibly. And many people have said to me, all you ever post anymore is about your animals.
I love it.
And that's exactly why, because I am not going to start this. If you want to have a conversation with me, I am willing to do that. And I'm willing to even have a meetup here at my house. Mm-hmm. Just contact me and let's have a conversation about it, because this online passivity, I'm not willing to engage in that anymore, because I want to know you. I want to know the soul that you are, the beautiful being that you are, and your opinion, your thoughts, and how did you come to that? And let me share mine. And, that's a real dialogue. That's really getting back to where we used to be. Right. In knowing our neighbors don't even know each other anymore.
I was just going to say, when neighbors would hang the clothes over the clothesline and have a conversation. Yeah. But what you just said about passion and action, what just sprung in my head was the Ho'oponopono piece, because it's all about cleaning and waiting on divine inspiration, which is, to me, action with passion. That's what that is. It's taking inspired action, and inspired action, is, for me now, waiting on that divine inspiration, where I know that the action that I'm about to take has been thought out, and it's inspired by something that's bigger than me. So it just struck me when you said putting passion into action, because I think action without inspiration is hard. I mean, it's harder for some of us that need to be inspired, like myself, but just to take action without the heart behind it, without the inspiration, is, all over the place. So just wanted to add that in, since we're in a last quarter moon, which is about cleaning and cleaning.
Yeah. One of the things that brought this to mind for me is, John McCain, who passed, a little over a week ago. when some lady during his campaign got up and started saying all this stuff about Barack Obama, which was completely bogus information, and she wanted to start an argument. She was giving away her authority to rumors, to what somebody started, and it was not even true. And he stood up and said, "No, ma'am, that is not true. That is, that's misinformation that you received." And he stood up for the truth. So part of the personal authority here is standing up for truth. Mm-hmm. And that really reminded me of that as well. Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, I've got a kitty that's trying to get in the room here because her own personal authority is saying, I need to be part of this conversation.
Shivani, do you want to read there? Chris has 4 different things that she said here on our chat. Do you see those?
Yeah. First one might be to say everything is a choice as part of the universal law of free will. Thus, I claim my soul sovereignty, and in making my choice under free will as a spark of the divine, I make the choice to do or believe X and take the responsibility intended and non-intended for any consequences.
That's beautiful.
So Chris also says everyone has core wounding that needs healing. Have to be sure not to go too far on the stop whining and get over it. Tough love, and be sure there's a balance of emotional and or tangible assistance available for folks in need. Mm-hmm. Our projections are our confessions. Oh, I love that.
I'd like to hear more about that one. Our projections. I like that. Whoa.
If there's a lot of energy attached to some issue, it is probably a trigger to a larger wound issue, etc., to be healed. Absolutely. Action without thoughtful inspiration is more impulsive without control than passion. It's more impulse without control in comparison to passion.
Is more impulse without control than passion. Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. Projections are our confessions. Well, sure, because if I'm projecting onto you, I'm confessing that I'm angry or that I'm sad or that I'm controlling or whatever it is I'm projecting onto you. I'm confessing that. I mean, I've just never heard projection and confession in the same sentence.
I love that, and I want to thank you for that, because I think how many times that we really put something out there and we're confessing that that's what's really going on in our life.
Exactly.
Yeah, it happens to all of us all the time. And by the way, this young one right here, this is Mango. She rarely comes in here, which is why I wanted to grab her, because she loves this conversation.
Yeah.
She's owning her own personal power here, her own personal power.
Well, and she's owning her personal power in so relaxed that she seems.
Yeah,
like she is just like there.
I love it. You can't see my puppy on the lap, but he also decided he needed to be part of the soul view.
Well, all animals welcome. So if you are out there and your animals are part of this,
please
welcome them in, because they feel this energy. They truly do. And I want to just go over to our Energized Living Today page. Let me see if I can find it here and see if we've got any comments. Here, let's see. Okay, we've got some likes here, but I'm not seeing any comments right now. If you have any comments on Facebook, go ahead and put them in. If you will put your comments in after the fact, then we will read them on our next show. And I think, one of the things that we are going to try and do in the future is we're going to shorten the calls. So, we're going to try and keep them to around 30 minutes, ladies, and we are right on that time. So anything else that you would like to offer to everyone here?
And I'm hoping, oh, good, I'm still being heard. Yay! I must have cleared something. What I want to just encourage myself and both of you and all of us to do in this next couple of days until Sunday, which is the new moon in Virgo, is to allow to be released what no longer serves you, what has outlived its purpose. Again, it's always a great time to clean out on the physical level in any way, with that intention that you're making room for the new to come in. New moon in Virgo is all about day-to-day quality of life. It's what are the details that contribute to the quality of my life and which detract. So that's exercise and supplements, and what do I eat, and how much sleep do I get. You know, it's the mechanics that contribute to the efficient and productive running of the machine called you and me. So just want to encourage that letting go process.
Beautiful. And I want to say, you know, the steps that I wrote down here, and we can solidify these afterwards, or you guys can help me here. You know, number one, for, you know, owning your personal authority. Number one, awareness or consciousness. Remember, when there's disorder on earth, there is order in heaven. There's a reason for everything. Number two was, you know, understanding what the payoff is. We've got to become conscious of what the payoff is in any situation, and realize if you want to keep that payoff or not. Is it worth your discomfort? Is it worth giving away your power to? And then what was the third one?
Well, the blame part, that in other words, that the moment we're blaming anyone, we're giving away our energy. So at whatever the reality is, if we own it, if we take responsibility without judgment or blame of ourselves either, but just go, here's the reality in my life. This is what's going on. From that place, we have the opportunity, we have the ability to change it. If we're still giving the energy to somebody else's responsibility for us, we don't have the energy to change anything.
That's very true.
Yeah, I remember the teachings of Abraham talk about post-manifestational awareness. You know, it's like, okay, this has happened. Well, I've created it somehow. I don't like it. But then, okay, so what do I want instead? How can I respond better?
I love that post-manifestation.
Yeah,
well,
you know, I love that. And, you know, and what they're saying is reflect. You know, if something happens, you do something, you give away your authority, you go, what was that all about?
Yeah.
You know, why did I just give that away? You know, it reminds me, I'll just say this very quickly. My husband and I went through that. We had an argument, which is so rare, I can't even tell you. We had this little spat, and we were, you know, it was going to become a knockdown drag out. And I finally said to him, you know what we ought to do? Let's go to a party. And he looked at me and he said, what? I don't want to go to, and I said, no, that's exactly what we need to do. We need a distraction, and then we can talk about this later. And it was one of the most empowering things that we did. We ended up having a blast together, and then we talked about it later, and we came from a place of empowerment on both sides.
So did you find a party to go to?
Yeah, we knew of one. We knew of one. So we had been invited to a wine party, so a wine tasting party. And so we said, let's go do this. And we did, and it ended up being just...
and sort of putting everything else on hold, in other words.
Yeah. What we did was we changed our emotional state.
Well, you didn't react, you responded. You were
right.
able...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we were in a reactive state and we weren't going to accomplish anything.
Yeah.
We were giving our power away all over the place. And I said, let's change our state. And so that's what we did. And we ended up having fun. And then we were loving when we had the conversation again. Yeah. And instead of it becoming a heated argument. So, you know, that's just one thing that you can do. You know, we don't argue in our home. We've got a place out front. We've got a bench. If we're going to have a heated conversation, we go out there. We don't want that energy in our house. So there are ways that we can keep our personal authority. And so I just wanted to bring that up. So if you find yourself in that space, that's just one thing that you can do.
And just remember, your projections are your confessions.
That's exactly right.
I love that, Chris. Thank you so much for that.
Yes. I want to thank all of you for being here today. This has been beautiful. Any final thoughts for you, Shivani?
Well, we've got in the chat from Sat Prim, and that's for Lorelei. First of all, thank you. All the Universal Laws talks sound great. Okay, good. My birthday is on Monday, Lorelei, with new moon on the 9th. Any thought for my day with moon in Virgo?
Yeah, if your birthday is on the new moon, then the next year is a new more than just a new year. Look to birth something. Something in your life will be birthed, because here's your new beginning at a new moon. So that's would be the major thing to remember.
And this is September, so I just want to say to everybody out there, happy birthday to everybody born in September. And just make it just the most wonderful new beginning, new year, as Lorelei said, for you. And Shivani?
Yeah, look, for me, the thought just came, being your own authority doesn't have to be hard, like everything we talked about can be also fun, like, you can be lighthearted about it, but also responsible, because I really believe everything, no exception, everything that's in your life, whether that's good or bad or neutral, you've created. And the cool thing is that when you actually take responsibility for it, then you can uncreate it, or you can create something new.
I love the fact that you said it doesn't have to be hard, because for Capricorn, it can often be hard.
I know.
So you're definitely
I've extended that a bit, thank God, but that it's the age. Used to be very serious and really, really hard.
And I get that. And there used to be a time, I just want to say, when I would give away my power. And the reason I shared this in my personal relationship, change your state, go do something else, is because I used to give my power away by having to be right. And boy, I was going to stick in that fight until the bitter end. And that other person was not going to win. And I used to be, I used to give my authority away all the time, and not realizing what I was doing. So I just want to bring that up again for people that are like that. And that's a space that I've moved away from. And like I said, the unexpected is the best way to change a state. That's why I said, let's go to a party. What?
Yeah. What a great idea.
Yeah. Really.
I love it.
So anyways, until next time, everyone, we just want to thank you for being with us, and we wish you all love, and namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.